And a good evening to you. Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley with you here on Weather Impact live at 6:30 on our Thursday. We're tracking some rain and storms. First time in a while we've been able to say that, but they are moving through the area and they've made a pretty big impact too. A bit more widespread than I was thinking with the storms for today. I figured they might be a bit more isolated, but they've been fairly widespread, which is good news, not that damaging. Mostly just beneficial. We need the rain. Talked about the last couple of days how it's been a long time since we've had rainfall, at least in Greensboro. About 20 days, that 20-day streak coming to an end in a pretty big way. I wasn't so sure we would break it, but sure enough, here we are. Let's get to that latest live radar right now. Looking across the area, this is the wide view around our area right now over the last 3 hours. So this is a longer range loop. What we're seeing in the shorter term is that we're starting to get toward the end of most of this rainfall. And at this point, there's no severe weather threat. That threat has gone. There was at least a low threat of that earlier this afternoon, but now we're fine. So let's take a look at who is seeing some of the hardest rain right now. It's mostly in Guilford County. We're still seeing some really steady rainfall around the city of Greensboro. And if I pause it, you'll notice some of the heaviest rain right now is right here along Wendover Avenue. So think about right by where Costco is, for example, right along Big Tree Way, right by the exit on 40. Really heavy rain at the moment. So there are some downpours still continuing in that part of the city. Elsewhere, it's a little bit lighter. Over in Burlington, you had some rain earlier, then there was a bit of a break. Now it's moving in again. So Alamance County seeing a good amount of rainfall. Farther off to the north we go in Rockingham County. There are some showers and storms that were there earlier. Now it's just moved over to mostly a light to moderate rainfall. So not quite as impressive as it was. Just a steady soaking rain that's really good for gardens and anything like your yard as well. Let's take a look in Ashboro here. You've been waiting for this rain for a long time. But we do have it now. It's starting to move into the city. Steady, moderate, even heavy rain at times, kind of moving on in here. Thunder and lightning, yeah, they're happening too. So take a look at that as we move through our area. Farther off to the west, it's always good to look to the west because that's where our weather is coming from. The overall movement on this is like that. So we're going to notice some clearing eventually, but it's not a rapid process. We'll have kind of a slow clearing over the next couple of hours. So through about 7:30 to 8:30 or so tonight, that's when you're going to notice the rain starting to come to an end. But in the meantime, scattered showers are still with us, some steady rain too. That's kind of the view in Greensboro right now. Look at all the birds, all those birds just above the towers. Kind of interesting to see that. But we are seeing much cooler air behind the rainfall. In Winston-Salem, starting that clearing process, we're getting some brighter spots on the western horizon. Might actually be a pretty interesting sunset, to be honest with you. And in Burlington right now, take a look here. We're seeing just some steady rainfall too. So nothing all that significant at the moment. If we look at a time lapse over the last couple of hours, it's always fun to see how this kind of plays out throughout the course of an afternoon. So I'll start it at about 3:45, and you'll notice as we go along, it's a little bit different everywhere. So take a look. Clouds rolling in, the rain moves into Winston first, then Greensboro, High Point, Burlington, kind of pushing from west to east as you might expect. So that's the situation earlier today. Now I mentioned how we ended our dry stretch of weather. We sure did. The first rain in about 20 days in the Greensboro area at PTI Airport in Greensboro. It's the first rain since August 14th. That's our longest stretch of dry weather in about 8 years, so very significant for today. Now, rain totals around the area, about 1/3 of an inch of rainfall so far at PTI in Greensboro, closing in on 1/2 inch in Winston-Salem and Burlington, and obviously the rest of the area is still kind of playing some catch-up right now. We had been totally drought-free across the state. Technically, we still are, but we're starting to see a couple of areas creep up. New numbers released today, by the way. We get those reports on Thursdays. Starting to see a few areas creep up that do have at least some abnormally dry conditions, mostly in eastern North Carolina, parts of the Sandhills, and parts of the North Carolina mountains as well. So those are things to keep an eye on. The weather pattern for tonight, tomorrow, and into the weekend remains a pretty summer-like one. So we're going to keep the warmth, increase the humidity, get a little hotter. That's where we stand for tomorrow. This was part of a cold front today that's never going to get here. So that front fizzles out. The next one, that'll clear fine, and that's the story going into the weekend. We do have some warmth and humidity ahead of it. That'll warm us up in a pretty big way. But after that, that's when we're going to start to get rid of the heat and humidity and go toward cooler and cooler weather. There are showers and storms on Saturday afternoon. I would expect they have a pretty big impact on your outdoor plans, so we might have to consider the timing on this. I think 3 to 4 and 5 p.m. on Saturday could be a bit disruptive. And then as we go toward 7, 8, and 9 o'clock, that's when things get a little bit less busy. But either way, showers and storms going to be a factor for the weekend. That includes college football games, things like that around the state. So keep in mind there might be those disruptions for the first half of the weekend. I see the weekend like this right now, 88, pretty close to 90 on Saturday afternoon. And then on Sunday, it's looking a little bit cloudier, a lot cooler too. We will have a fall feel back as we go into next week. As far as the humidity goes, that's up right now. It'll stay up for tomorrow into Saturday, then it'll drop. So we're going back to that fall feeling, like I said, early next week. We're going to have to talk and deal with the tropics. Over the next week to 10 days, we're going to have to deal with this. It looks like it'll be a situation here. So this will become Tropical Storm Gabrielle over the next couple of days. We're not at the point where we can say much else about it, other than it'll probably become a storm. It'll be moving off to the west. And after that point, the details just get a little bit foggy. We're talking about 10 to 12 days into the future. It's just not something we can talk about with all that much precision. So keep checking back. We'll let you know if it is anything to worry about as we learn a little bit more about it. But in any case, we're still dealing with some rain, the first in about 3 weeks across the Triad area. That's the latest radar. Keep an eye on it through about 8 to 9 o'clock this evening. And after that, well, we should be dry through tonight and into tomorrow as well. I'll leave you with a 7-day forecast as we always do. And a couple things to point out here as we go throughout the next couple of days. The main impacts to your life, that'll be on Saturday. It'll be the hottest day in the forecast, I would expect. It also has the best chance for rain. Late day showers, late day thunderstorms. That's a good bet, mostly between about 4 o'clock and around 8 o'clock as well. Sunday looks to be a lot cooler, so we're looking at only the 70s. That's for a couple reasons. Number one, we have a cold front bringing cooler air in here. We also just have a lot more in the way of also cloud cover, and that plays a role. We'll be back with a lot more on the Carolinas weather pattern next.